President Melvina again, and Executive Board and members of the Saints and Nevis Association of Houston, Honorable Leader of the Federal Parliamentary Opposition, MP Mark Brantley, distinguished representatives of local and state government, Madam Master of Ceremonies, fellow citizens and friends of St. Kitts and Nevis, good evening. Even as a member of this diaspora for just shy of 30 years, I'm honored by the opportunity to bring you warm greetings from the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, and the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis, by way of our esteemed Ambassador to the United States, Her Excellency, Jacinth Lorna Henry Martin. Indeed, it is a pleasure to see so many of you here in Houston, gathered to pay homage to our great little nation. As is often expressed by Ambassador Henry Martin, we all have a role to play as ambassadors in our own right. St. Kitts and Nevis has a story to tell, and we must all be equipped to tell that story and to tell it well. We must be prepared to promote and defend our native land wherever and whenever the opportunity presents itself, especially in ensuring that the positives of who we are as a people are promoted, that the best of who we are is highlighted, and that we respect the truth that there is always something enriching to our sense of self that can be drawn upon in boasting about our land of beauty. Truth be told, after 30 years of political independence, the Federation of Saints and Nevis has a lot about which we can justly be proud. We cannot deny that we have seen some trying times, as is normal with all fledgling nations. Even this great United States of America was almost completely torn apart through countless bouts of teething pains. Nonetheless, since the mid-1990s, and in similar fashion to the United States, St. Kitts and Nevis has settled down to become a prosperous nation to be admired and often emulated throughout the Caribbean. Today, 30 years from that memorable day, September 19, 1983, we are a nation that has made its mark on the world. We are known for our intellect and our determination, for our natural talent and abilities, for our prowess in sports. Our contribution to the fabric of every society in which Kittitians and Nevisians lend their skills and expertise enriches and shapes the lives of those with whom we interact in all spheres of endeavor. We are, after all, a people who define ourselves not by the acreage of our lands, but by the richness of the tangible and intangible gifts we share, and by our desire to advance ourselves and to help others in the process of doing so. Our contribution to the United States of America is no less worthy. Kittitians and Nevisians who have made these lands our home, away from home, have learned to be diligent and productive, have grown to understand the sacrifices that result in success, and have never in the process forgotten the land of our birth. By contextualizing the need to be present here in the United States of America, we have weathered social and economic storms and have seized opportunities for education and entrepreneurship to distinguish ourselves. Yet, we have never wavered from the truth that the gift of life was bequeathed to us by Almighty God Himself in the blessed islands of St. Kitts and Nevis. As the smallest independent nation in the hemisphere, we have demonstrated that we are as large as our dreams, as determined as our ideals, and as our potential. To quote from a message shared by the Honorable Prime Minister on the advancements of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Federation's extraordinary planning and effort have placed our nation in the #1 position among Eastern Caribbean states in manufactured exports. In IMF 2030 economic growth projections and in foreign direct investment, with current statistics showing an unprecedented level of home ownership and a life expectancy that compares with the most powerful nations on earth, end quote. With a literacy rate of 98%, we have every reason to be proud of our nation as its population is equal to any citizen in any part of the world. With an intellectual curiosity, we have sharpened and learned to contribute to the global economy. As a tourism officer, I am delighted to mention that the Robert L. Branch International Airport is being improved continuously. And the once lethargic Port Zante has now developed into a hive of economic activity that is poised to increase with the construction of a brand new pier. These improvements attest to the strides that we are making in our vital tourism sector, which has blossomed into the main engine of our economic growth. This industry is being stimulated to the extent that, with regard to our cruise visitors, St. Kitts and Nevis has seen steady growth over the past 3 years, from 117,000 visitors in the 2005-2006 season to 629 in the 2011-2012 season, an increase of more than 400%, as compared to an increase of just 30% throughout the Caribbean. In this upcoming season, we expect to surpass the 750,000 mark. I guess this is consistent with the fact that in the 2011-2012 cruise season, St. Kitts and Nevis ranked #2 in the Caribbean in passenger satisfaction with their overall visit, and #2 in passengers reporting that their visit met or exceeded their expectations. Of course, our goal is to graduate to the #1 position this coming season. But what does all that mean in real terms to the man on the street? Well, the average passenger expenditure on St. Kitts and Nevis has almost doubled since 2006, while the average expenditure across the Caribbean has actually declined by 2%. In fact, the average passenger spend on St. Kitts increased from $57.40 in 2007 to $108.90 in 2011-2012, 14% above the Caribbean average. How does this affect the man on the street? An example is the fact that we have increased our taxi operators from 150 to 400 in that period. It is for this reason that we are now constructing the new pier so that we can double our berthing capacity and take greater advantage of this positive trend. With regard to the stay-over side of the industry, we are pleased at the rate with which our airlift capacity is developing and keeping pace with the current and projected growth in our room stock. By the end of the year, we will have 9 flights a week from Miami and 1 or 2 flights, depending on the scheduling, from New York via American Airlines, 1 or 2 weekly flights from Toronto via Air Canada, 1 or 2 from London via British Airways, 1 from Charlotte via US Airways, and 1 or 2 from Atlanta via Delta. Coupled with the airlift though, we have various hotel and condo developments currently under construction. For example, the Kittian Hill project, comprising a 5-star Sedona Resort Hotel and edible all over landscape, and yes, I did say edible, of course. It is scheduled to open next month. Also, the groundbreaking ceremony of the 300 Moon Park Hyatt Resort just recently took place. These, in addition to other properties, will be announced shortly for the Christoph Harbour area, and they will completely change the landscape of tourism for our country. The prospects are exciting. So how does the diaspora fit into the scheme of things on the ground back home? Well, most of us continue to hold our native land dear to our hearts and passionately want to see prosperity abound. Indeed, this gathering of proud people firmly attests to that. It shows that we identify, and we want it to be known that we identify with our native land. We want to represent. And that is why I propose this evening that we all take up the mantle and assume the role of ambassadors. Let us make it our duty to truly represent our country in a positive light, wherever and whenever we can. When we can boast, let us do so factually and with authority, so that our expressions will be supported by evidence on the ground. We must know that our nation of 105 square miles, with a population of only 50,000 people, has produced at least 5 members of the West Indies cricket team playing cricket at the highest international level. And we have already produced a gold medalist in the World Championship 100-meter sprint. We must know that the smallest nation in the Western Hemisphere has a World Heritage Site of hemispheric proportions as designated by UNESCO in the magnificent structure that is Brimstone Hill. We must know that the Bath House, the first hotel in the Caribbean, was frequented by European aristocracy because of the healing powers of the springs. This was probably the first spa in the New World. We must be able to say that we have rainforests and volcanoes to explore. We have historic curiosities such as the house in which the American statesman Sir Alexander Hamilton was born. We have the estate on which Thomas Jefferson's great-great-grandfather lived and died. His tomb is nearby for those who want, the history buffs who want to visit. We have great scuba diving, great adventures such as zip lining and skydiving and ATV trails and world-class golf courses. As ambassadors, we must keep ourselves informed about the positive attributes that will cause others to support this tourism industry that is so vital to us. Since we come from a technologically advanced country that has the highest per capita online presence and cell phone usage in the Caribbean. Since we come from a country of festivals like Sugar Mass and Culturama and the same Kids Music Festival, to name a few, festivals that interest the visitors, what happens on the ground must be important to us in the diaspora. As citizens, it is our patriotic duty. It is a moral imperative that we tell our story as Kitty Visions, because there is no such country as St. Kitts, and there is no such country as Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis is a nation bound together with a common destiny. If 30 years of independence have taught us anything, it should be that. So, as we celebrate 30 years of political sovereignty, in reflecting on this premise of our national anthem, let us agree that we do have a story to tell. And in the diaspora, we must be properly informed and passionately charged so that we can indeed tell this story well. May we continue to be inspired to love our land of beauty and to remain as true to our nation as we always have been, more highly motivated than ever to build on the gains and achievements that we have already made, and ready to sharpen our individual and collective skills and resources for the good of our beloved nation. God bless you all. God bless these United States of America, where we live and earn our daily bread. And may God richly bless with his abundance the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I thank you. Thank you.